Okay, maybe the title of this video is a bit bold. Maybe it's a bit much, but in all honesty, a lot of things are going on right now inside of my government, inside of Canada, that are concerning, and I want to talk about them today as I think they affect more than just Canada, and this is something we could see in many other places if we don't understand the reason behind cryptocurrencies. So, what am I talking about? Why does my government think I'm a criminal? And why would I have to be worried that maybe I don't actually have access to my money and I don't own the rights to it, even though it's in my own bank account? Well, there's a few reasons to that. And not all of them are super black and white. And obviously, I'm in my mom's basement. I'm not a political expert. I don't follow all the politics. But things are going on right now that have me concerned. So, starting with this video, I want to show you a clip on my main concerns and what I'm talking about with me being treated like a criminal for using cryptocurrencies, and other people who are trying to fund and support protests are being shut down through their banking accounts and whatever else is a central entity that can be accessed by the government because they are raising funds for something that essentially could be deemed as illegal or terrorist activity, but most likely isn't.
First, we are broadening the scope of Canada's anti-money laundering and terrorist financing rules so that they cover crowdfunding platforms and the payment service providers they use. These changes cover all forms of transactions, including digital assets, such as cryptocurrencies. The illegal blockades have highlighted the fact that crowdfunding platforms and some of the payment service providers they use are not fully captured under the Proceeds of Crime and Terrorist Financing Act.
Maybe I missed something here, but seems to me that we have in Canada a truckers convoy, and there's a lot of people doing protests for vaccinations and other things, setting up blockades for whatever reason. Because of these blockades, the first time in, many decades, we come in and we put an emergency service act that basically says, hey, if your bank account is suspicious or we think it is, sorry, but we can freeze your funds. We can allow you not to use any of them, and we don't have to apologize for it either. Also, if you're buying crypto off an exchange like Newton and you're in Canada, they can trace that. They have access to their information. They can pull Newton and say, what's the customer base? And they can do all of it without fear of getting sued or just about any repercussions at all. Just listen to this right here. Banks will temporarily be allowed to freeze personal and business accounts suspected of being used to further the blockades without obtaining a court order and without the fear of being sued for doing so, Ms. Freeland said at the news conference. If that doesn't concern you, I don't know what does, okay? My first thing is saying, okay, I'm investing in cryptocurrencies. There's a reason behind that, to be my own bank. And if all of this legacy systems where they can go to one company and subpoena them for everything, all my data, and right now, without the fear of being sued and without a court order, I think I'll stick to this. I think I'll stick to being my own bank for the time being. Thanks, but no thanks. Obviously, I have to keep business accounts, have to keep bank accounts to do actual things in real life, but I am leaning more towards just buying more cryptocurrency and saying, screw the banks, because this to me just doesn't seem right. Now, they do mention that the Federal Emergency Act measures will expand the powers of Canada's banks and financial intelligence agency to monitor and stem the flow of funds to protesters who have blocked downtown Ottawa and key corridors, as the federal government escalates its effort to end disruption. So, is this targeted for more of a specific reason and not just all of the people in Canada? Yes. But to be honest, if we're implementing this Emergency Act measure now and, we're just saying, hey, we can take effect. They can take charge. They can really do anything. What are we going to do to stop them from making this more of a broadened scope, right? To me, it's a snowball of something that could tumble and tumble and tumble down until it's an avalanche and it wrecks out a lot more than intended. Now, normally I talk about cryptocurrency on this channel. Specifically, I talk about Cardano. Cardano does a lot. Cryptocurrencies do a lot. And the point of all of them to me is to have a sounder form of money. One that isn't controlled by the Federal Reserve in the US or wherever you may be. One that is banked by you and also can be governed by the people who are behind it. So everything is transparent, especially on a blockchain, and you can also be your own bank without the worry of someone coming in and illegally or legally rather being the government just taking your funds or freezing your assets. Of course, right now the major problem is that even if you are deep into crypto, in most cases you are going to have to go to somewhere where it's KYC and the government can access and subpoena you to actually offload those funds and spend them. That's not always the case. It is some places you can spend crypto as payment, but in my experience right now, it's hard to do so. So I want that to be more of my priority going forward, is focusing on things that develop the side where we can actually spend our crypto in the real world without having to make a separate bank account or go through an exchange directly where they could stop us in our tracks there. Well, that's pretty much for the video today. You don't have to like, you don't have to subscribe, you don't have to do anything, but I just want to talk about it and tell you where I stand. I'm going to be buying more cryptocurrencies if I can, and I'm also going to be banking it myself as much as I can and as safely as I can. So this isn't putting a target on my back. This isn't saying screw the government, they're all bad. But I do think there is a lot to learn here. And to me, this movement of trying to stop crowdfunding and, basically kind of shun cryptocurrencies and call people who use them terrorists or criminals is similar to the alcohol prohibition. And why do I say that? Because it's absurd. And expecting this to be beneficial to society is also just absurd. But then at the end of the day, just some guy in my mom's basement, and to be honest, I don't really know where we're going to go next with this, but I hope it's anywhere but the direction we're headed now. Anyways, see you guys in the next video. It's been your friend Jack. Peace out.